everyone, this is Meg at Chasing Retro. I'm going to show you a little tour of my craft space. It is not organized completely. It is definitely not ideal. It is not finished. In fact, I don't think it ever has been. But I decided that if I didn't go ahead and film this now, you may never see it. I filmed a flip through. I filmed a little craft room tour probably a little over a year ago, and a lot of things have changed since then. Some things have not, but I wanted to still do a little update for you. So I'm going to do this today, and I'm going to piece it together so it will be, you know, little snippets of each area as I go. And then hopefully it will give you some inspiration on if you have just a part of a room that you can carve out for your crafting. I hope this gives you some inspiration on things you can use and do to make it work. So first and foremost, this is the desk that I have. This is my crafting desk. Now I actually use it for work as well. I have a laptop that I'll bring over and work, and then when work is done for the day, I take it completely out of the room so I don't have to think about it or worry about it anymore. And I turned this back into my craft desk. I took my cutting mat off, but that's normally right in front of my chair. But this is a desk that I found on Facebook Marketplace that has super solid 2 sets of drawers, this one and this one. Solid wood. I didn't repaint because I kind of like the mint green. And then the top of it, we think, is a door, like a vintage door. So it looks like they had used some wood putty to kind of, you know, fix some holes or splits in the door or whatever. But I think that just adds character, so we left it like that. It looks like they may have added a little more stain, I'm not sure. So let me show you the drawers first. This is all of my trim that is not on a roll, a spool. I used to, there are a few in here actually that still are that I've missed. I try to put all my spools of ribbon in a separate thing. Like this is on a spool, but it's not ribbon, it's floral. So these are just all the trims separated by color. It's black and red and browns and golds. I have 2 bags of blue because blue is just easy to find. So pink, green. This is multicolored. Back here I have some yarn, like hair tie yarn, which I don't use as much as I should. Here is a bag of basically ready-made tag ties, or the little things that you put in the top of a tag. These are just cut-offs from all the other projects that I have of all different types of things, and I just keep them in here. Things that wouldn't fit into other categories, or they're too short. You know, I'm not going to put a 6-inch piece in my colored bags because I want these to mainly be large amounts. And then I have 1 bag of pom-pom trim. Down here, y'all, it's an obsession, is all my lace. It's a lot. It's very deep. Many of you have given me some great ideas on, so I have them mainly attached to the card with straight pins, and it's sort of a, you know, it's sort of a risky endeavor putting your hand in here because you get jabbed. So a lot of you had told me to switch to safety pins, and I will be doing that very soon because that is brilliant. Okay, the other side. This is my work headset, but underneath that is all of my glues. Some are sitting up, some are in a basket, and then under here are my small punches. And of course I have my Sanrio pencil case, which there's nothing in there right now, but you know, you never know when you'll need it. Here are my glue books. Well, there's only 1 in here right now, but normally I keep my books in here that I use for bearing down on when I'm using glue sticks. And there's a heat gun down there too. Here's my drawer, and some of you have asked about this too. This is where I organize my themes for journals. So a lot of these are already made, and so the leftovers are still sitting in here. Whether or not I decide to make another one, or sometimes I'll put together a kit in my shop, like, you know, a cat themed junk journal kit. So if I have time, sometimes I'll do something like that, and I'll of course announce it when I do that. But some of these are ones I haven't made yet, like House and Home. There's Baby. So I have them organized by theme as best I can. Back here is where I'll put all of my receipts for everything that I use that can be a deduction for my Etsy business for taxes. And then, yeah, everything that's in here is either done or, like giraffes just got finished, Sound of Music as well, kitchen and recipes, outer space. These are all, it looks like I've put most of the ones back here that I have already done. But here's Scotland, and Scotland has not been made yet, so it's in there. I probably should have organized them a little better, maybe alphabetically. The journals that I have most, I guess, upcoming, I try to put here. So I have some Daisy journals planned, Mary Poppins, and then back here you can't see the tab because it's covered up. This is all the stuff from my Peaches and Cream journals, and it's overflowing. So, and in fact, I just kind of set this on top. And this is Mary Poppins fabric. So that is where I put everything that I'm kind of working on right now. As you can see, this is a book. I don't know if I showed this to you guys or not. I ordered some vintage books about retail recently, and this was one about department stores in Minnesota. Evidently, that was one of the biggest parts of our country to develop the department store that later became the mall. So this book has amazing photographs inside that I can use. Here is just, don't look too much at the mess. This is just things that make me happy. I've already forgotten what these are called. I can never remember what they're called, but I played with them as a child. You can pop their clothes on and off. And then here's a My Little Pony. And here is a apothecary jar with some sari silk in it. Here is a little tiny turntable with records and a little Beanie Baby giraffe. There's my new Sears catalog. I just keep it here because I've been flipping through it. Cell phone stand, a vintage planter. I put small scissors in there usually. I have a tool turnabout from Pampered Chef that I have repurposed into holding all of my tools. I found this basket at a yard sale, and I put my scissors in it, and this just has all my other things that I don't want to forget about. See, like this, I didn't put it in my journals, but I'm going to try to find a way to use this somehow. I kind of want to frame this. And then I love to use my grandma's vintage dishes to organize things that I cut out. So this is one of her Star of David crystal cut, I guess it would be a relish tray. So I have it here for the next project. Okay, here is a metal cart that I found at a yard sale. It's one of those really thin ones. I'm so sorry, it is not organized right now. I have all of my rickrack, my carded rickrack here. My non-carded rickrack that's on spools or loose is in this coffee can. I have paper, crepe paper rolls, fabric ribbon, vintage trims, lots of Hobby Lobby trims, more vintage trims down here. This is drywall tape. I use that for snippet strips. These are pre-cut fabric pieces for scrappy ties. Here is some snippet strips already made. These are some washi tape, fabric washi that I received in Happy Mail, and I made a few of them. This is just a bunch of stuff. Like I've got these from Happy Mail, and this is from Happy Mail. But yeah, so here, this is where I'm showing you where I'm organized, but not, okay? So any cool old or not old box that I think I can reuse, I turn into a ephemera holder. So these two are empty, but this is a button holder, and I have my fabric yo-yos in here. These are all my letter stickers, paper clusters, paper flowers, fabric flowers, numbers, things like mailbox numbers and number stencils and stuff like that, fabric clusters, matchbooks, seam binding and bias tape, and vintage recipe cards. On the other side of that is another, let me come around here, another wire roller cart, I guess. This was also a yard sale find, and I spray painted it mint green. Really hard to do, by the way, to spray paint something that is just bars. It took a lot of paint. A lot of it went on the ground. But this is where I keep my envelopes that hold fussy cuts, and I have them organized by, you know, topic. This is all of my envelopes, for the most part, in this basket. Here are some die cut florals. Here are extra printables that I don't need right now, but I hope to use one day. These are, whenever I see an interesting word or set of words in a magazine or a book, I cut them out and I put them in here. I think these two are also empty, which means I need to find something to put in them because they're just taking up space. This is embroidery floss and floss cards. These are price stickers. These are taken off of vintage items that I buy. And more little fussy cuts. I have clothespins in this tin. Back here in this Burnham's Animals, I have some millinery flowers. I decided, I can't remember who sent me this. Somebody sent me this vintage pill container, and I put milk caps in it because they're perfect. So if you'll have one of these, use it for milk caps. These are all of my labels and more labels. So these are more of the labels that I use when I label my books that I make, you know, made by Meg or whatever. And then these are things like Denison seals and mailing labels. Here are my loose buttons, and here are my button cards. Okay, we'll come over here now. This is the door that goes to our deck. So I have a lot of light right here in this corner. This needs a better system, but for right now, this is where I put all of my rolls of wrapping paper and wallpaper. And also things like sentence strips that are very tall, and I don't know where else to put them. This is the Yip Yip that our daughter's friend made for me, and I am in love with it. It's a chenille, bright yellow, my favorite color, yarn, and he's amazing. So he will eventually hold something, but for right now, he's just hanging out. Okay, so this right here was originally the screen door on the front of our house, which for those of you who don't know, we live in my grandparents' former house. But I decided to hang the screen door inside, and I decorated it with lights and a wreath. And then my mom gave me this little bookshelf, and you can't even see it anymore because it has so much stuff on it. This is, I knocked off my Yip Yip. This is, I got this idea off of YouTube. I don't remember who it was. I'm terrible with this, y'all. But basically, I got one of these, you know, sometimes at Aldi, if you see one of these, you can grab it and use it as your basket. So this is just one of the pasta boxes at Aldi. And then I saved a bunch of our other, you know, food boxes, and I cut the tops off and taped the sides together. And I organized my ephemera as best I can. And then down here, we have a bunch of those little photo boxes plus some more. All of my sewing notions and things like that are here. I bought some vintage travel handwritten logs at a estate sale, and they're all in here. These are stencils, more fabric sewing notions. This is a puzzle that's a map, very old. Here's my sewing lady stickers in this old cigar box from my great-grandpa. Ready-made pockets and belly bands, and vintage photographs. These are actual paper dolls that I have not used yet. These are clear stickers like the acetate stickers. Baby wipes for my stamps. Picture frames, and that's just what it says it is. It's those little plastic frames that I got from Temu recently. These are green stamps and all the other coupon stamps. This is where I keep all my scraps for collaging. These are flowers made out of tiny shells. I showed y'all that a while back in a thrift store haul. These are the whale tails that Carrie made me. These are the teeny tiny little pieces of paper scraps that I hold. I just use these for clusters. So I pull this out when I'm making clusters. These are just some book pages. I really need to repurpose this box. It's not coming to fruition and it's taking up space because there's only about 10 things in here. Handwritten envelopes and letters. Paper strips. These are the offcuts, and this is what I use to make my Franken paper. These are wooden spools. And then back here are vintage, what's the name of that magazine? Quick magazine. I found a whole stack of them in an antique store. These are die-cut bugs and butterflies. These are fabric strips. Dried rose petals. I don't remember what's in here. It used to hold napkins, but I moved my napkins recently, so what's in here now? Oh, more napkins. Okay. That means I need to get a bigger box, because when I have something in 2 different spots, that means I need to rethink my plan, because I'll forget about those. These are paper dolls from my childhood, and this is packaging. So anything like, here's more matchbooks too. These are the ones that I consider premium matchbooks. Anything that's packaging that I think would be cool made into a journal, like a true junk journal, I put in that box. This is my sewing corner. I have a fun little thing with glitter in it from Dollar Tree. I found this at a thrift store and I love it so much. And then this is a Panamanian mole fabric piecing. So my dad was in the Army and he was in Panama in 90 and 91 and brought back a bunch of these, and I framed one. And then here is my sewing machine, which, as you guys know, his name is Ryan Gosling because he's always asking me which one of these I want, and I never know which one I want. It's usually 0 or 5, honestly. And then here is some, little bits and bobs for sewing. I'll keep all of my little bobbins back here. And then this is a little TV that my son 3D printed for me, and it holds my iPhone, and I can watch things while I sew. It's so fun. And then up here we have more books that I use for junk journaling. This used to be a mixture of other books for non-junk journaling, but I realized that I was mistakenly cutting into those, so I moved those out of this room. More matchboxes. Those are the boxes, not the books. So those are the ones that slide in and out. Here are my 2 sewing baskets, and then there are 2 more up here that hold fabric ruffles. Okay, so my desk backs up to our fireplace, and it is a very wide opening fireplace and a very wide overall hearth. So I use it as another shelf. This is where I put my yearbooks. These are current projects right here. Those are some sewing pattern counter catalogs. This is some recent purchases that I have not put away yet. And this is my basket of larger paper offcuts and scraps. This is what I pull from when I'm making a tag most of the time. And if I can't find it in here, then I get a new sheet of paper. But I try to use these first. Okay, not many people probably do an under the desk tour, but also not many people probably have to use under the desk for storage. I do. So this is a file box, and in here I have a lot of things like printed 8.5 by 11 paper. That's where I keep all of my printed deli paper, things like that I don't want to get wrinkled. There's my strawberry tray that I use when I'm organizing a project. These are my two photo storage boxes. You can get these at Michael's. This one holds just a bunch of small ephemera and bead dangles and stuff. And this one is all of my beads separated by color. Back here I have an empty one that I need to figure out what I'm going to put in it. And then on top, that's where I put a lot of my vintage retail catalogs. Down here we have 2 more trays stacked and ready to go, and then a set of drawers that I bought at a yard sale with trim and lace cards. Doilies, I need to take those off because those have been moved. And then whenever I have a piece of lace that I cut off, I put it in here. And on top of that is my, what is that thing called? This thing, scoreboard. It's so big and it's the only place that it really fits. Okay, at the edge of my desk is this little table that was in my room when I was a little girl. It's been painted about 7 or 8 times, but right now it's an off-white that I distressed. My dad made it and he used his wood tools to carve some wheat. I just love it. But anyway, this is where I put a lot of the journals that I made when I first started junk journaling. This one is actually, I won this in a contest, but the rest of them I made pretty much. And when I was learning, these are my learning journals, but I still love them. And I put those over here just to keep them close to me as a memory of how I got started in all of this, which was, I didn't realize it was so long ago. I think I first heard about this and started making journals in February 2021. So it's been a while. Okay, this is in our dining room. Everything I just showed you is in the corner of our dining room, which used to be a kitchen den combo when my grandparents lived here, and now it's kitchen dining room combo. So this was the hutch that I bought, and it's like a traditional kitchen hutch, but I have now turned it into a holder of crafty things. At the very top is a vintage picnic basket that has more paper napkins in it. And then this is where I keep my small ephemera. And here's some vintage greeting cards. Some of them, I have more below. I keep wax paper from Dollar Tree here for making glassine bags. This is not chipboard. So what's in here is stuff like dot matrix printer paper and ledgers. That's what I keep here. This is some handmade paper that I got from Sarah the Traveling Crafter, and I don't want to mess it up, so I just laid it gently on top. Here are some vintage phone books, elementary yearbooks. Let me move my plant. It's kind of like hair. It's just everywhere. The sugar box holds vintage sheet squares from Etsy, and when I do cut up a sheet, I put the squares in there. The Nabisco cookie tin has vintage, I'm sorry, my words are not coming to me today. Postage stamps in there, and it is full. And then I bought a really cool vinyl tablecloth with flowers, and I cut all the flowers apart, and they're all in here. Here are just some books right here that I sometimes pull from, but honestly love so much that I just wanted to look at them every day. This is what we used to store our Push Button the dog's dog treats in. So sad. But he's not here anymore, so I moved it over here, and I'm going to think of something cool to put in this. Vintage index cards and dividers, and I have more back there. This vintage Belk department store box holds folded pattern tissue. I started organizing some of my sewing pattern ladies. These are from Dollar Tree. I don't know if they still have them, but they're amazing. They're called document holders. And then here is all my chipboard. These are gift bags that I want to make into journals at some point. This is the weird catch-all stuff like doilies and PVC and my mom's vintage highlights from childhood, piano roll paper, vintage ledger pads, and here are my 6x6 and 8x8 paper pads. I probably shouldn't have this on top of them. I also use these from Dollar Tree to make small little packets to put things in the shop, like when I do like a bundle of playing cards. Yeah, these are just cardstocks. Lots of different, some are plain, some are patterned. This is a roll of piano paper. This is a, so sad. This is a Revco yardstick that I accidentally snapped, and I almost cried. So if y'all have tips for how to fix this, let me know. Otherwise, hubby and I think we might just cut it off at the 18 and have an 18-inch ruler, which is okay because it will still say Revco, but I'm so sad. Here are all of my 12 by 12 paper pads. I don't think I should buy any more. Okay, maybe I can buy one more. That's it though, just one more. And then these are solid colored copy paper. This is some cardstock. This is some, I think this is photo paper. Down here is where I keep all my gift wrap. I have sheet protectors here and photo paper. And here is my plain colored cardstock and notebook paper. Here is the rest of my vintage greeting cards and stationery. And underneath here, I have rogue book pages that I just pull from when I'm doing eclectic journals. And then here are some large ledger pads and paper cutter. I had nowhere else to put it. It's very big. Okay, this shelf right here was in our son's room, and he redid his room this summer, and he told me that I could have it, and I about cried. No, we built this shelf to go in his nursery when he was a baby, and we lived in a historic home that had very tall ceilings, and it almost doesn't fit in this house. But it does, barely. But it's just really tall, and it's so solid because my dad and husband and I built it out of like the most solid wood, heavy wood you can get. So it's perfect for this. I was so thankful he let me use it. So this is where I stack all of my sewing patterns. There's more in the back, and there's more in the basket. Here are some books that I pull from for images and book pages. This is my box of large ephemera and my box of individually bought scrapbook paper that's 12 by 12. This is a box of fabric scraps, and then there's that new copy paper that I bought recently. This is a vintage purse, and I have fabric clusters in there. These are all my vintage curlers. And a little fraction of my vintage music books. I've got more in the hallway. Okay, this is what I'm most excited about with this shelf. It allowed me to have a display area. So I wanted to put here all of the things that just make me happy right now. And I will rotate this out here and there as I find more things or decide to pull more things from my childhood or whatever. So these are just things that have sentimental, background for me, or I like the colors, I like the font, anything like that that just speaks to me in some way. I put here things that remind me of memories. There's Wally in my giraffe journal that I just finished. And so yeah, this is just a fun little, who else had a happy apple? This was mine from babyhood. The first most exciting shelf of this whole shelf is this. This is where I put all of the journals that I've made that are my favorites, and all of the journals, I think. There may be some other ones tucked in other places. I know I have one in my bedroom that other people have made. So I made these two, I made the strawberry, but this one keeps falling down. This one is one of the ones that I just recently purchased. And this one is the first junk journal I ever purchased from another maker. And there's two more in there from other makers. This is the journal that my sweet friend Cindy made for me. I received this as a gift as well with the yellow flowers. I bought this one recently off of Etsy. I love it. I don't know if I'll be able to write in it or not. I think that's all that's back there. And then my cookbook journal is back there because, yeah, I haven't used it yet as I should because I just haven't, but I need to. So that's where I put all my finished journals that either I made or someone else has made. And of course there's a box of envelopes there because I didn't know where else to put that box of envelopes. Oh, Carol from Crinkle Path made this and I received it in a giveaway, and I used it this past Christmas to journal about the book of Isaiah. So it's been written in full. It is now full. Up here in this awesome octagon box, or maybe it's a hexagon, I don't know. I found this at a thrift store. It holds all of my spools of ribbon and it is full. So I knew when I did put it in there that I did not need to buy any more spools of ribbon. Here are some craft cards and recipe cards, and that's where I keep my embossing folder stuff. Down here is our, I call it a credenza, but I guess it's a buffet. And so here are a few more straggling journals. This is the cat and the dog journal that I made, and this is the other journal that I purchased recently off of Etsy that I'm gonna put my homeschool memories in. And then last but not least on this is a bird cage, I guess. I actually bought it to go outside, but after I put the thread in it, I was like, yeah, it's not going outside. It's so cute. And I live in the textile belt, and so my dad worked in textiles when he was first out of college. My grandpa made his living in textiles, so this is sort of a memory of that. My grandpa would bring these cones home for me to play with. I would turn them into Christmas trees and all kinds of stuff. Okay, this is the other side of my desk to sort of orient you and where you are. This is an IKEA roller cart, and this is where I keep my decorative scissors, my color wheel, my yarn, my mailing tape, and stuff like that that I need for shipping, my washi tapes, my labeling machines. These are just other small die cuts in these boxes. You know, extra blades. That's where I keep my glossy accents and my glitter glue. And down here are more beads that are too small really to put in the colored bead organizational boxes. And then also things like there's vintage clip-on earrings in here, and down here are vintage necklaces that I've bought, but I have not had the heart to cut them apart yet. This is a bag of colored shells. I told you I had some shell flowers. These are all the leftovers. So when I bought these at the thrift store, I really don't know what I'm gonna do with all these, but I just can't throw them away. They're beautiful. They're dyed shells, and they're so pretty. Now on to the fabric. I have no better place to put this, but in front of our deck door that stays closed most of the time are my two large totes of fabric. And they used to be organized by color. They are not any longer. So there they are, and yeah, I still love them. One day when I get a dedicated craft room, maybe I can have some cube shelves or open shelving that I can really stack them and organize them better, but for now this is working just fine. This is underneath my sewing machine. I forgot to show you underneath there, but since we're talking about fabric, this is a three drawer organizer, and this is where I keep all of my fat quarters. And I organize these by color, thankfully. And on the bottom drawer is where I put the ones that have more than one color, multicolored. And then over here I have some pre-cut quilting pieces. And here is all my shipping stuff, as well as bases of boxes that I use as junk journals. I like to make junk journals out of these and muffin boxes. That is like the perfect size, I think. So whenever we eat something and finish it up, I break it down and put it here. All right, this is the part that I was debating showing you guys, but I decided to because it's real life. I'm a little embarrassed about this. I have sort of taken over our hall linen closet as junk journal storage as well. So here you see sheets that we use on our beds. And then among it and behind it, you will see junk journal supplies. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. It's coming out everywhere. Vintage games. There's all my stamps. Vintage magazines. I put them in bags so they will not deteriorate anymore. And vintage booklets. There's all of my sari silk and scarves. There's my scan and cut machine. Back there is, my unfinished Little Women journal. I was just talking about that yesterday. I've got to finish that one. It's a shame that it's been sitting there over a year. Down here in this thing is where I keep all my vintage large sheets that I plan to cut up. And then here's all my embroidery, doilies, large tablecloths, stuff like that. Things that I find at thrift stores that I sort of either use as a journal cover, or I'll cut the flowers apart and use them in piecing. Okay, on the other side of the fireplace is this built-in bookshelf, just like on the other side. And here is where I have a lot of my vintage music books are in here, vintage decorating pamphlets. All of my dyed papers are in these magazine holders, little golden books. These are all the books that I want to make into actual journal covers. The books that I pull just the pages from are in the lower section. And I'll show you that in a second, but I'm serious. I should not be buying any more books, and I will show you why in 1 second. On top is all of my postcards. These are just things that are sort of, I brought them in. I don't really know where to put them yet, so we'll just put them in this basket. We have some Rolodex cards back here, vintage recipes. We have vintage baby book, skipbo cards, another ephemera holder. This one is actually using a basket, and I separated it by food boxes as well. And then of course we have this little fun guy. He's my buddy. And then down here is, I'm serious, this is it. This is the trove of where I pull for book pages for journals. And when I do it, now you know why I source for more than one theme at a time, because if I'm pulling all of this out and it goes 2 layers back, I'm going to source for more than one theme. I'm not going to do this every time I start a new journal. So my kids and my husband know that when I pull these out, it's going to look like a bomb went off in here, but I will clean it up before bedtime, and I usually do. And I have several stacks of images and pages I can use for more than one journal when I'm done. Also, I love that it smells like an old bookstore in here. So, if you're a big picture person, this is what it looks like when you come into my house and enter my kitchen. This is the dining room area. The dining room table is right here, and the kitchen is behind me. But people who know what I do, this doesn't faze them. People who don't know what I do tend to look at me like, what in the world is this? But it is the best that I can do with right now, and I consider it my cozy little crafting corner. I love it so much. I would love to know what your ideas are about how I can make this space even more functional. I know it's a lot of stuff, and it's really hard to make things fully functional when there's just a lot of stuff in the way. But I know you guys have lots of tips and tricks. I've watched many of your craft tour videos, so feel free to give me some ideas on more more things to do to make my space more usable and efficient, so that I feel like at the end of a journal project, I'm not just stepping over stuff and trying to crawl my way out of my space. I'm telling you right now, it is clean. This is clean. When I finish a journal, it does not look like this, but it still makes me happy. And I'm thankful for the space that I do have. And I'm also thankful for all of you, and thanks for watching today. And I'll see you next time.